You've heard it before, it's normal to sleep less as you age. But what if that's only half the truth? Because the real danger isn't just sleeping fewer hours, it's how your body stops recovering during the hours you do sleep. If you're over 55 and finding it harder to fall asleep, waking up too early, or never feeling truly rested, it's not simply age catching up, it might be hidden signals your body is trying to send. Many seniors turn to sleeping pills or late-night snacks, thinking they're fixing the problem, but instead they're just numbing it. And the real issue, unstable blood sugar, low serotonin, magnesium deficiency, inflammation, emotional clutter, continues to stir beneath the surface night after night. We often ignore these things because they sound too small to matter. But small imbalances, repeated over time, are exactly what keep us awake at 2 a.m., even when we thought we did everything right. Tonight's video isn't about shortcuts or supplements, it's about food, but not just any food. These 6 humble ingredients have been quietly healing sleep from within long before pills were invented. They don't just make you sleepy, they rebuild the inner landscape that allows deep, natural rest to return. They speak the language of your body's chemistry, your nervous system's rhythm, and even your emotional stillness. So before you reach for another tablet or tell yourself that broken sleep is just part of getting older, pause and ask yourself this: are you feeding your sleep or slowly starving it? 6 foods just make you sleep. 1. Kiwi, the fruit that talks to your sleep hormones. What if the secret to better sleep wasn't in your pillow, your habits, or even your medications, but in a fruit most people overlook in the grocery store? You've probably passed by it 100 times, fuzzy and green, tucked in beside the apples and oranges. But here's the truth: this small fruit speaks directly to the chemistry of your sleep, in a language your body deeply understands and desperately needs, especially after 55. Many older adults experience something they don't always talk about. They go to bed tired but can't fall asleep. Or worse, they fall asleep only to wake up at 2 a.m. with their mind racing or their body strangely alert. They try herbal teas, deep breathing, even counting backwards from 100, but something inside just won't let go. And night after night, the body learns to expect disruption instead of rest. Over time, the result isn't just fatigue, it's a slow unraveling of energy, mood, and emotional stability. This is where kiwi begins to change the story. Kiwi is one of the few natural foods that contains high levels of serotonin, a chemical most people associate with happiness, but that also plays a central role in the sleep-wake cycle. When serotonin levels rise in the evening, your brain receives the signal that it's time to wind down. From serotonin, your body synthesizes melatonin, the master hormone for restful, sustained sleep. And unlike supplements which flood your system all at once, kiwi helps your body rebuild its natural rhythm from within. But that's only the beginning. Kiwi is also rich in antioxidants like vitamin C and E, which help reduce inflammation and oxidative stress, 2 silent disruptors of deep sleep, especially common in aging bodies. For anyone who feels like their sleep is light, easily disturbed, or not quite restoring, inflammation is often a hidden cause. Kiwi's anti-inflammatory effects support not just falling asleep, but staying asleep without frequent waking. Then there's blood sugar. Many older adults don't realize that waking up at night feeling anxious or hungry is often due to unstable glucose levels. The body, sensing a drop, sends out stress hormones like cortisol to wake you up. Kiwi, with its natural fiber and mild sugars, helps stabilize these levels, creating a smooth metabolic environment throughout the night. You don't crash, you don't spike, you simply rest. So what's the best way to bring kiwi into your sleep ritual? 1 or 2 kiwis, sliced about an hour before bedtime, are enough. You can eat them on their own or pair them with a few spoonfuls of unsweetened yogurt for a calming digestive aid. This isn't just a snack, it's a gesture, a moment where the body is reminded it is safe now to relax, There's no threat, nothing urgent, just the soft rhythm of letting go. In a world where sleep is often treated as a problem to be fixed, Kiwi offers a quieter message. Maybe sleep is not broken. Maybe it just needs to be supported gently with what your body already knows how to do. And maybe the question we should be asking isn't, why can't I sleep, but what's keeping my body from remembering how? 2. Oats, not just breakfast, but an evening anchor. If someone told you that the bowl of oatmeal you used to eat as a child could quietly fix your broken sleep today, would you believe them? Because here's what most people get wrong. Oats aren't just morning fuel. They may be one of the most overlooked sleep remedies sitting quietly in your kitchen. And for adults over 55 who find their nights getting longer and more restless, this single shift from morning to evening could change everything. Let's look at a moment that happens in far too many homes. It's late, you've had dinner, you've turned off the TV, maybe even taken a warm shower, but your mind won't slow down. You're not hungry, but something feels unsettled. So you lie in bed, tossing from side to side, not in pain, but not at peace either. Minutes stretch into hours, and when sleep finally comes, it's light and forgettable. You wake up groggy, almost as if you never truly slept. Many people blame stress or hormones or even just getting older. But sometimes the answer is simpler and warmer than we realize. Oats are one of the few natural foods that contain a gentle combination of nutrients designed to ease your body into sleep, naturally, reliably, and without the crash. They're rich in melatonin, the hormone that signals the brain when it's time to rest. But more importantly, oats contain complex carbohydrates that help move tryptophan, a sleep-promoting amino acid, across the blood-brain barrier. This matters because your body can't just think its way into rest. It needs raw materials. Tryptophan turns into serotonin, which becomes melatonin. Without this conversion, sleep never gets the signal. But oats do more than build chemistry. They also balance rhythm. Many seniors unknowingly deal with blood sugar instability during the night. Even if you don't feel diabetic, your body may still experience dips in glucose while you sleep. These dips act like silent alarms. Cortisol rises, you wake confused, maybe you even feel anxious without knowing why. This is where the fiber in oats, specifically beta-glucan, becomes essential. It slows digestion, keeps energy release steady, and reduces those stress spikes that quietly sabotage your rest. Emotionally, oats carry something even deeper: familiarity, comfort. A soft-rooted warmth that tells the nervous system, you're safe now. Unlike sugary snacks or heavy meals before bed, which confuse the metabolism and strain the liver, a small bowl of warm oats offers a slow exhale to your entire system. It's not just nourishment, it's rhythm. And rhythm is what the body craves most after 55, when sleep no longer follows willpower but pattern. If you're wondering how to incorporate this, it's simpler than you think. Just 2 or 3 spoonfuls of cooked oats, made with almond milk or water, topped with a touch of honey and perhaps a few crushed walnuts or cinnamon, is enough. Not as a full meal, but as an evening anchor, a pause, a signal. Because what you eat before bed isn't just about digestion. It's about what message you're sending your body. And oats whisper the message many of us need to hear: it's okay now, you can finally let go. When sleep becomes fragile, it's not always a problem to be fixed. Sometimes it's a rhythm to be remembered. And sometimes that rhythm starts with something as simple and as powerful as a spoon, ready for something even more surprising. Let's talk about the kind of nut that doesn't just crunch, but calms. 3 walnuts, little seeds of deep restoration. You've probably heard that walnuts are good for your heart, but what if they're even better for your sleep? In fact, these tiny, wrinkled seeds may be quietly repairing the part of your nervous system that sleeping pills can't touch. While most people look to herbs or supplements when they struggle to fall asleep, walnuts offer something subtler: support not just for sleep, but for the entire system that makes restful sleep possible. It often starts with the kind of night we've come to normalize. You lie down exhausted, but your mind won't settle. There's a quiet buzzing beneath the surface. Thoughts don't stop, muscles don't fully relax, and even if you fall asleep, it feels shallow, like you never truly dropped in. By morning, you're more tired than before, and over time, that fatigue creeps into memory, patience, and motivation. For many people over 55, this cycle becomes the new normal. But there's a deeper reason behind this restlessness that few people talk about, and walnuts happen to speak that language fluently. Walnuts are a rare natural source of both melatonin and the building blocks that help your body make more of it on its own. Unlike synthetic melatonin supplements that spike hormone levels artificially, walnuts gently support the body's internal clock, allowing it to recalibrate over time. They're especially rich in alpha-linolenic acid, ALA, a type of omega-3 fatty acid that converts into DHA in the body, a key component in producing serotonin. And as we know by now, serotonin is what eventually becomes melatonin, the master switch for sleep. But this isn't just about chemistry, it's about safety. When the body senses it has what it needs, it lets go. And that letting go is what true sleep demands. Beyond hormones, walnuts bring in two overlooked but critical nutrients for sleep: magnesium and zinc. Magnesium helps calm the nervous system, soften muscle tension, and ease racing thoughts. Zinc, often ignored in sleep discussions, has been shown in recent studies to improve both sleep duration and quality when paired with magnesium. And here's something to consider: magnesium deficiency is extremely common in older adults, often due to medication interactions, stress, or simply depleted soils. So when you feel like your sleep is light or fragile, what you might actually be experiencing is a mineral imbalance your body doesn't know how to articulate. Emotionally, there's something comforting about walnuts. Their earthy taste, their familiar texture, the way they crack softly in the mouth, all of it signals grounding. In a world where everything moves fast and we often eat without presence, grabbing a small handful of walnuts before bed is more than a habit, it's a pause. A reconnection, a way of saying, this time I will nourish, not just fill. To bring walnuts into your evening doesn't require a big shift. Add a few to your oatmeal, blend them into a bedtime smoothie, or simply eat them plain with a touch of honey. What matters most is consistency and the quiet intention behind it. Because the body doesn't respond to noise, it responds to rhythm. And walnuts, in their unassuming way, help restore that rhythm where so much else has failed. When sleep becomes something you chase instead of something that arrives, maybe it's time to listen to the softer messengers. The ones that don't knock loudly, but wait patiently on your kitchen shelf. And maybe what you've needed all along isn't more effort, but more nourishment. Shall we explore what happens when that nourishment is warm, familiar, and sipped slowly? Let's talk about the drink your body still remembers from childhood. For warm milk, not just comfort, but chemistry. Most people think of warm milk as a bedtime story relic, something grandmothers used to make, more emotional than effective. But what if that cup, simple, quiet, and ordinary, was actually performing a precise chemical dance that your body still remembers even after all these years? Because here's the truth: warm milk doesn't just comfort, it reawakens the neurochemical rhythm that deep sleep depends on, especially in those over 55 whose sleep has quietly grown thin, shallow, and fragmented over time. It's a familiar moment for many. The lights are off, the house is silent, but your body isn't ready to rest. Your shoulders still hold tension, your thoughts skip like stones across the surface of your mind. You try deep breathing. You shift positions, you try not to look at the clock, but you do. And again, it's 2:47 a.m. and somehow you're both tired and alert, desperate for sleep, but unable to surrender to it. This is not just stress. It's not just aging. It's also a broken signal between the brain and the body, a missing link in the chain of relaxation. That's where milk comes in. Milk contains tryptophan, an essential amino acid that the body uses to produce serotonin and eventually melatonin. But here's what most people miss. Tryptophan alone isn't enough. Your body also needs calcium to convert it efficiently into those calming hormones. Without calcium, that chain reaction breaks down and tryptophan sits idle. So when you drink warm milk, you're not just soothing yourself emotionally, you're supplying the exact biochemical tools your brain needs to transition from alertness to rest. This is why warm milk works better than cold milk for many people. The gentle heat enhances absorption, soothes the digestive system, and activates a psychological sense of safety. And for the nervous system, feeling safe is the real gateway to sleep. But there's more. For those with lactose concerns, alternatives like almond milk or oat milk, especially when calcium fortified, can provide similar effects. When combined with a teaspoon of honey, which slightly raises insulin and helps usher tryptophan into the brain, and a sprinkle of cinnamon or nutmeg, the result becomes a ritual, not just a drink but a message. A signal that says the day is over, it's time to return to rest. And for older adults who often find their circadian rhythms disrupted by years of stress, blue light medication, or irregular habits, this ritual isn't childish, it's healing. It reteaches the body how to soften, how to release, how to trust the night again. So the next time you're tempted to dismiss warm milk as old-fashioned, ask yourself this: what if the old ways weren't outdated, just forgotten? What if a warm cup, held with two hands in silence, was exactly the anchor your body has been missing? And what if healing your sleep didn't require new pills or devices, but simply returning to what once worked, in the quiet language your nervous system still remembers? Because sometimes nourishment is not in the nutrient, but in the gesture. And sometimes that gesture opens the door to something deeper. Speaking of deeper, have you ever heard of a seed that holds the wisdom of centuries, waiting patiently to help your body exhale? Let's look next at the quiet power of the lotus. 5. Lotus seeds, the forgotten treasure for restful nights. They don't sell it in shiny bottles. You won't find it on billboards or in loud TV ads. But in the quiet corners of traditional medicine, lotus seeds have been treasured for centuries, not just for nutrition, but for their unique ability to calm the nervous system from within. And yet today, most people have no idea that this humble seed may be the missing link between their restless nights and the deep, sustained sleep they long for. It's not a superfood trend. It's something older than science and gentler than most solutions we're taught to trust. Think of this: you're ready for bed, you've turned off the lights, the day is done, but instead of a smooth transition into sleep, your brain starts rehearsing tomorrow. Your chest feels tight, your body doesn't twitch but it doesn't settle either. You're not in pain but you're not at peace. It's like a background hum that won't turn off. And the worst part, you don't even know where it's coming from. You didn't drink coffee, you didn't nap, you were tired all day, and still here you are wide awake. This kind of tension, quiet but persistent, is a nervous system that has forgotten how to soften, and that's where lotus seeds step in. Lotus seeds contain a group of alkaloids, natural plant compounds with gentle sedative effects that help reduce overactivity in the brain. They don't knock you out like a pill, they don't sedate you into dependence. They simply lower the volume of the inner noise, allowing your mind to settle more naturally into a sleep-ready state. And unlike quick fixes, the calming effect of lotus seeds builds over time. What makes them even more effective is their high magnesium content, often called nature's relaxation mineral. Magnesium helps regulate cortisol, reduce muscle tension, and activate the parasympathetic nervous system, the part of your body that signals safety and restoration. For adults over 55, many of whom unknowingly suffer from mild magnesium deficiency, this single nutrient can dramatically shift how the body responds to bedtime. But the magic doesn't stop there. Lotus seeds are also rich in antioxidants and anti-inflammatory compounds, which soothe the internal inflammation that silently disrupts sleep cycles in older bodies. And with their gentle mix of protein and fiber, they help prevent midnight blood sugar dips, the kind that wake you suddenly, leaving you confused or hungry at 3 a.m. This means that beyond their calming chemistry, lotus seeds offer physical stability throughout the night. They nourish, ground, and anchor the body, exactly what fragile sleep patterns require to rebuild trust. Emotionally, there's something almost sacred about lotus seeds. They've been used in Eastern traditions not just as food, but as a symbol of stillness, purity, and deep renewal. Holding a handful, roasting them gently, or simmering them into a warm evening treat isn't just nourishment, it's ceremony. It invites the nervous system to slow down, to return to rhythm, to remember something quieter, older, and softer than modern solutions can offer. So if sleep has become a battle, something you brace yourself for each night, maybe it's time to stop fighting. Maybe it's time to listen. And maybe the answer isn't new but deeply ancient, waiting patiently in a small white seed that's carried the wisdom of rest across generations. And as we follow that wisdom further, we find ourselves at the edge of one last ritual, simple, floral, and held in the steam of a single cup. Let's now turn to the tea that doesn't just relax you, it teaches your body how to let go. 6. Chamomile tea, a ritual, not a remedy. Most people drink chamomile tea because they've been told it helps them sleep. But what if the real power of chamomile isn't in what it does to you, but in what it reminds you to do? What if the secret isn't the herb itself, but the ritual it creates, the quiet it brings, the permission it offers to slow down long before your head touches the pillow? Because the truth is, chamomile tea doesn't work like a pill. It doesn't force you to sleep. It invites you to return. You've likely lived this scene more than once. The house is dark, the clock ticks past 10, and everything feels quiet except for your body. Your thoughts are still organizing tomorrow. Your shoulders are still holding the shape of your day. You want to sleep, you try to sleep, but your body hasn't arrived in that space yet. It's still on, still alert, still processing, so you stay there, eyes closed but aware. And maybe at some point sleep comes, maybe it doesn't. But either way, you wake up with the same dull exhaustion that's become too familiar. And somewhere deep down you wonder, am I forgetting how to rest? That's where chamomile steps in, not as a remedy, but as a reteacher of rhythm. Chamomile contains a pygenin, a natural antioxidant that gently binds to the brain's GABA receptors, those same receptors that sedatives target, but without the chemical override. It's like having someone whisper instead of shout, inviting your brain to calm itself, rather than commanding it to shut down. This makes chamomile non-habit forming, deeply safe, and emotionally stabilizing, especially important for those over 55 whose nervous systems have weathered decades of subtle overstimulation. But the science is only part of the story. What makes chamomile transformative isn't just its compounds, it's the context. To drink chamomile tea is to slow your pace, to stand still while water boils, to hold a warm mug, to bring your senses back home, to scent, to touch, to the present moment. And that moment, repeated over time, becomes something far more powerful than a single beverage. It becomes a ritual, and rituals matter. Especially in a world where rest is treated as weakness, where productivity is prized over peace, where we rush through every meal, every message, every moment. A ritual says pause, a ritual says now it's safe, a ritual says you are allowed to be here doing nothing but receiving warmth. And that warmth isn't just emotional. Chamomile also supports digestion, soothes inflammation, and gently lowers cortisol levels, all of which are intimately tied to sleep quality. For older adults, especially those dealing with hormonal shifts, digestive sensitivity, or chronic low-grade anxiety, chamomile can create the conditions your body needs to fall asleep, not just through sedation, but through restoration. But here's the key. This only works if we stop treating it like a tool and start honoring it as a rhythm. Add a spoon of honey, not for sugar, but to nudge insulin and guide tryptophan towards serotonin. Add a dash of cinnamon, not just for flavor, but to ground blood sugar and warm the belly. Choose your cup with care, sit where the light is low. Let the tea cool just enough to sip slowly. These may seem like small details, but when repeated, they become an internal language, a code your nervous system begins to recognize. And the more often it hears that code, the faster it responds. Not with forced sleep, but with readiness, with soft permission, with peace. So no, chamomile tea isn't just a remedy, it's a ritual of remembering that sleep is not something we chase, but something we return to. And we return best when we're not rushing, when we're not solving, when we're simply allowing. Which leads us to one final question, one only you can answer. If you listened closely enough tonight, would your body know the way back to rest? Or has it been waiting for you to slow down long enough to find it again? Final, there is a quiet kind of healing that doesn't come from doing more, but from doing less. More slowly, more intentionally, more in tune with what your body has been whispering all along. Sometimes it's not that sleep is gone, it's that we've been too far from ourselves to receive it. These 6 foods aren't just nutrients or sleep aids, they're invitations. They ask you to come back into rhythm, to soften the pace, to stop fighting the night and start listening to it again. They don't sedate, they don't override, they restore, not because they're magical, but because they respect the natural chemistry your body already knows, chemistry that only works when the system feels safe, nourished, and steady. And that safety doesn't always come from a doctor's office or a new product. Sometimes it begins at your table, in the way you heat water, in the way you sit before bed, in the food you choose when the house grows quiet and the world no longer needs your performance. So perhaps the real message here isn't about what to eat, but how to care. How to create space around sleep, not just to fix insomnia, but to ask yourself, what have I made sleep compete with? What does my nervous system still carry into the night? And what would it take for my home, my body, even my thoughts, to become a place where sleep feels welcome again? Because in the end, sleep isn't something we earn, it's something we allow. And maybe what's keeping us awake isn't the noise outside, but the silence we've forgotten how to sit with inside. So tonight, before you close your eyes, pause and ask not your mind, but your body. Do you feel ready, or do you still need me to slow down a little more?